Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. John Henry Soto here. This is a live morning space for artists, filmmakers, musicians, and creators who are navigating the real world of making art. This is a show about positivity, but not the fluffy kind. We talk about what actually stops artists from moving forward, the struggles we all face, and how to move through them with clarity and purpose. We'll also highlight good things happening in the industry, share ideas, suggestions, and practical advice, and most importantly, have honest conversations. This is a live show, so if you're here, please feel free to ask questions or join in. This is a place to reset, get grounded, and start the day moving forward as an artist. And good morning, everyone. Welcome in. Johnny here on a cold Monday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. I know that the East now is getting pounded with tons and tons of snow. It looks beautiful. I've seen images. I have friends there. That's where I'm from, New York City, and they're being pounded right now. Pretty rough over there. So I wish them all well. We're just cold. Of course, we just had a week where we hit high 70s. So I cannot complain, but the weather here, we're still in winter here in Nashville, Tennessee. So what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? It's still cold. It is February 23rd, 2026, and I just want to say happy birthday to my daughter, my beautiful daughter. She's 15 years old today. God bless you. Thank you so much for making me a dad. Thank you so much for coming into our lives and making us laugh and being so sweet and wonderful. We love you very, very much. Uh, Thank you and happy birthday to my daughter. Today, we're going to actually talk about AI, which again, John, again, yes, again. But in this way, I'm going to frame it a little bit this way. Um, One of the things I posted a video a couple of days ago on social different platforms where I kind of said, maybe we should start calling the name AI generated art something different. And I don't mean the art itself because it is AI art. I'm talking about the person that's prompting it. And so I made a comment and I said, are we should we start using names and call artists artists and then call AI prompters? So there's artists and prompters. What are you, an artist or a prompter? A creator of prompts. Or are you an actual artist? So, because we're living right now in a time where intelligence, by the way, that's what AI stands for. Intelligence can generate a painting in 10 seconds. It can compose a symphony in 12 and write a screenplay before you finish your morning coffee. And that is impressive. It's fast, it's flashy. But, let's be honest here for a second. There's a difference between crafting art and prompting software. I think it's time we start calling AI artists what they really are, which is prompters. I mean, I don't know. Is this insulting to somebody who's a prompter? Because I use ChatGPT, I use AI, for certain things. I don't use it to make my art. I've never used it to write a song or to create a film. I wrote my own film, or I typed it. I walked away for a while. I couldn't figure something out. I had to think about it. And then I came back. I read the draft again. I found some more. And I did that. It took me a year. And that's the script that I'm currently working on right now. Now, is it easier there's no fun in that for me to prompt it and get a screenplay in 12 minutes or 12 seconds. I don't find that fun at all. So why am I going, I just don't find it fun, amusing at all. It's just not fun. So I think we should start adapting. If anybody has a better title, a better name, AI prompter AI, or AI artist. AI artist sounds like it's been used already, and it adds the word artist to it. So I feel that when you're prompting, like right now, I could do something with just prompts from people that inspire me, musicians. I could say Stevie Ray Vaughan and John Mayer, and all these artists put together and give me a song with this kind of thing. And the writing should be in the vein of this and this can be that and give me a song. But there's no real fun, about that. You know what I mean? It's just no fun. So somebody says the feed isn't coming through. I don't know who this is. It doesn't say a name. LinkedIn user. Let me know what that means. That the feed is not coming through because It says I'm live here everywhere. So I apologize if it's not coming through. I don't know why. It tells me right here that everything is a-okay. Well, I'll just continue here for those who are listening, and please let me know what exactly is happening if you're out there. I appreciate it. So I think it's time we start calling them prompters, right? They're not sculpting marble with their hands or bleeding into a canvas at 2 a.m. They're typing instructions, and I'm not knocking them. It's just an accurate job description management. I'm just putting them in the right category so we know what they are and what they belong, right? Or where they belong anyway. A real artist wrestles with doubt, with craft, with years of bad drafts and empty rooms and rejection emails. Oh boy, do I get a lot of those. I still get a lot of those. A prompter wrestles with phrasing. It makes, make it moodier, add more blue, or in the style of. One is developing a voice over decades, and the other is curating outcomes from a machine trained on voices of everyone else. So let's remember that. They're utilizing the voices that have already been existed, have already lived. So it's nothing original about it. And yes, the prompting is sort of like a chef. Maybe they can be called, chefs in some way, right? They're adding, not even a chef, because a chef, even though a chef uses different ingredients. Well, my point is that the ingredients, if a chef is using an onion, well, onions exist already. Somebody else has used onions before them, right? It's a vegetable that you can't patent a vegetable. Although there's some companies that have tried that to patent a vitamin or patent something that you put into your food, a seasoning, something, right? Because you can grow it. Anybody can grow it. It's part of the earth, right? So you can't own it. And it's sort of like that with the internet. So if I'm prompting something with a famous guitar player and a famous singer, well, they already exist, right? That's the prompt that I'm having. Now, even if I don't name an artist, even if I say, give me a raspy voice, give me this type of style of songwriting, it can only pull from things that have already existed, right? Because that's what AI is, right? It's just scouring the internet for what you're prompting it to find. So, we have to make sure that we understand that the voices belong to artists that have put those in there at some point. They either created I don't know, they're artists. They've been out there. They've promoted themselves. They've spent millions, sometimes, over time since the internet was around. It's billions of dollars that have been put into the internet of information and managed. And now AI is draining it, literally, because it uses a lot of water as well. It's draining it, and it's pulling from it whatever data it can find based on your prompts. So that's what it's doing. It's already been there, right? That doesn't make the prompting useless. It can be a creative thing. It can be a strategic thing. It could even be clever, and I've seen some things that are very, very clever, but let's not confuse steering the ship with building it plank by plank in a storm, right? When we're out there, artists in particular, and I learned to play. I mean, you could see my fingertips, that I have the dents on the permanent dents on my fingertips, and calluses from decades and decades, about 3 decades to be exact, or more than that, Yeah, oh my gosh, a lot more than that. Crazy enough, but of just playing and playing, and those scars, the AI machines have never felt. So it's hard for them to really convey any soul or spirituality into the music or into whatever it's creating, because it's never had the battle scars. It's utilizing prompts of things that have already existed. Now, the contrast isn't about fear, it's about respect, right? That's what I want to say. I want to make sure that both sides get respect. I don't want to disrespect a prompter, right? I'm going to start calling them prompter, whether the phrase catches on or not. I don't want to disrespect prompters, because a really good prompter can probably create a really great thing at some point, because remember, you continue to prompt, you say, okay, make it like this, make it like that. Okay, now make it like this. Okay, now add this to it. All right, now do this. Okay, take out that thing, but add this now. That's the job of a prompter, right? And nowadays they're not even typing anymore. Now they're actually verbally speaking into it, because that's gotten so good as well. So you literally can just sit there, and it's gonna create a lot of opportunities for people who are unable to type, unable to use their hands, unable. Uh, Anybody can do it now. Anybody can create something, which I think is a wonderful thing. So if you get somebody who maybe can't is has some type of a disability, but they can still type. Well, they can prompt and make their own stories. They can make their own art. They can make their own music. It's gonna be great for those. They're gonna be prompters. They can become a prompter now. That's a job now. It's an opportunity. And we're gonna need prompters. I'm assuming for stuff. I think artists are gonna be are we're gonna be elevated again to a much higher degree than we were before. I think prompters are going to have their place in the industry, but I think that um, artists are going to be even more revered, as time goes on. Remember, in the old days, for you to see somebody famous, you had to either see them on television being interviewed, or watch them in the film that you were watching them, or go see them live in concert, or go to the art gallery and see their work, and maybe you get a chance to meet them. And it was a big deal. With social media, it didn't make it such a big deal anymore. It was sort of oh, there they are. Now you can see their lifestyle. You can see what they had for breakfast. You can see where they live. You can see their families. You can see them on their daily routines. So there's a certain mystique that sort of has been leveled to everyone else, because you can see my morning routine. You could see me make coffee in the mornings sometimes, not exciting stuff, but it's not, somebody like Tom Cruise or Denzel Washington's life, although he's not on. Denzel is not, actually, none of those guys really use social media but like that. But I'm saying there's artists that use it, and they elevate their numbers, and people like them, and people follow them. But if you see them in the street, you're like, oh yeah, I follow them on Instagram or on TikTok, and that becomes a little bit different, you know. So artists live that process. When you're an artist, you're living the struggle. you know the blisters, like I showed you, the missed notes, the rewrites, the risk of standing on a stage and owning something that came from your soul. AI doesn't take risks, it calculates possibilities. So maybe the conversation shouldn't be AI versus artists, right? And this is not, we're not doing a competition here of AI versus an artist. We're actually, I'm being very, very serious about this. And again, I'm not saying it to put AI down, because that would be hypocritical of me, because I use it. Now I don't use it to create my art. I use it to do research. I use it to clean up my writing. If I'm writing something and I say, and I know, because my grammar is my grammar is no good, not that good. I put it through there and I have it clean it up. I don't have it change my what I'm the purpose of what I'm writing. I have it write research articles for me, so I can create my own viewpoints on it. So I use it. I use it for fun things, to change my clothes, to add funny costumes. If I'm doing a show based on something that I think is pretty funny, I do that. and it's a lot of fun, and it actually helps me with my create. So I'm not knocking AI, because again, that would be really, really hypocritical. What I am saying is that when it's being labeled in the same category as artists, it's sort of going into back in the day, 100 years ago, and going into a record shop. Although there are record shops popping up all over the place again, because records are coming back. As a matter of fact, books are coming back. Barnes and Noble just announced they're opening stores up across the country again, because people are getting tired of this. They want to start living again. Now they're going to document their living like this on social media. Social media is not going away. It's going to be used differently, right? And people are going to start doing things, and AI is going to be part of that. There are going to be people that just live. There are people right now that live their whole lives on the computer, right? They have what do you call the VR headsets, and they live in worlds that I don't know. They just live in a whole new world. They can make themselves look how they want to look. They can talk the way they want to look. They can dress the way they want to. Just living in these AI worlds, right? These virtual worlds. So, but it would be like going to a record store, right? I kind of went on a tangent there on physical things opening up again, but you go to a what do you call these places? A record shop, like back in the day. Let's say you go back in uh, back in the 80s, right? And you go to Tower Records and you're scouring through records, and you want a blues record. Well, there's a blues section. You go to the blues section and you look for the blues. There's a rock section. There's a jazz section. There's a salsa section. There's a flamingo, whatever. It narrows it down, right? They narrow it down so you can find what it is you're looking for, right? And that's sort of the how I'm actually looking at it, with putting the AI artists in a category so people know what it is that they're getting. So it's not like, okay, I spent a year working, like right now my film that I'm working on, which I'll put it on the screen real quick and give it a quick plug. So this is my film, Not Our Time. It's coming soon. So I'm still doing some rewrites on it. I'm always going to be rewriting on that, but I wrote that, right? AI did not produce it. I wrote it. I came up with it. I created the characters. I gave it language. I had a whole theme behind it. Now, what I did not, um, what I did not do is use AI to give me suggestions. I had this idea, right? So there's a difference between AI art, any kind of art, whether it's writing, songwriting, film, video, painting, and then a real artist. That difference needs to be identified so people that are paying good money to go to purchase something understand that this was prompted and that this was handmade. Remember in the old days, handmade was like a really good thing. They used the word handmade because handmade meant that a person took the care to create it. It's like a guitar. A guitar could be manufactured in a factory and they just crank out 1,000 of those guitars per hour, or it can be handcrafted. And the guitar player makes maybe 12 to 15 guitars per year, sells them for high end. Why? Because they're handmade. They've taken their time to actually find the corners, to make sure it's smooth, to make sure it sounds perfect, as clear as it possibly sounds. And that is worth a lot more than someone who just prompted or started the machine and started cranking out Chinese made guitars, and that's what happens. So this is why I wanted to talk about this today, was because I'm not necessarily knocking AI in food from scratch. There you go. Hook is in the house. Thank you very much for the love. I appreciate you always. Um, so you get like, yeah, I was mentioning that a chef would get all the ingredients, and he would put all the ingredients in, and he would make this amazing meal. And then the restaurant is very exclusive because you get a really great chef, and it's not boxes of patties coming in frozen from some farm or from some factory that were grounded up and added and stuff like that and sold at McDonald's or some fast food chain where it's manufactured and contains seed oils and and preservatives and all the nasty things that actually make people unhealthy. That's the kind of that people are paying for that, right? We have fast foods and we have very, very nice restaurants, right? When you go to a nice restaurant, you don't get sick, or at least you don't get as sick. You don't, but you pay a lot more. When you go to a fast food joint, you pay, maybe actually it's not really as cheap as it used to be, but you pay a less and you're not getting good quality food. Well, there's the difference between AI. AI is fast food, and artists, the real artist is high end restaurants, high end. So thank you, Cook, for that suggestion, because I'm running with it. I appreciate it. So AI, like I said, is the the art comes from the soul, right? And AI doesn't take any risks, right? It's just very calculating. It calculates possibilities. It just triggers the system to just, it doesn't even take any risks. It doesn't have to. It's all in there already. So it's like me trying to think of the name of that guitar behind me. I have it in there already. It's a Fender Telecaster. I already know. I don't have to think. It's in my memory bank. Well, the AI has a memory bank and it's all in there. So all you're doing, and it's very, very fast. So when you're asking it a thing, it doesn't have to think about anything. It just boom. I know it's some of the prompt softwares say thinking. It's not thinking, it's generating. It's pulling things in, but there's no thinking involved because it cannot calculate. Um, it only calculates possibilities. It cannot take risks. So maybe the conversation right here shouldn't be AI versus artists, as I was saying. Maybe it's just to clarify these terms, right? Artists create, prompters prompt. So this is why I wanted to do this show. Let's start calling them prompters. Nothing wrong with being a prompter. Like I said before, I would be hypocritical if I said that. I use AI. I use it for research. I use it for fun stuff sometimes, just getting into conversations about history and finding out what. I also try to trick it. I try to make it contradict itself, which is always a fun game to play until it starts revolting and then kills us all. But I use it. It would be hypocritical for me to say, hey, no one should ever use AI because it's here. It's going to be part of our lives, whether we like it or not. That's just the way it is. But it's not AI versus it's artists versus prompters, and both of us can exist. A prompter is a guy generally, or a gal, sitting in front of a computer and prompting it ideas that they come up. So their idea may be original, but how the method that they're getting it is not, right? Because it only AI is only pulling from created things that have been created that are just sitting in there waiting to be pulled out into from this machine and put into a mixture of something, right? And both of us can exist. Prompters and artists can exist. But hand out let's not hand out paintbrushes to people who have never picked up a paintbrush. Let's not give a Grammy to a prompter that has never played an instrument or written a song. Let's not give an Oscar to an AI actor who has never um, actually taken a class or walked to an audition or sweated about an audition coming up tomorrow. That's humanity. And AI will never replace humanity. It may replace a lot of other things, to make our life easier in some respect. And people are going to lose their jobs. I've done shows on this before. And if you're ignoring it, then you're dumb, because it's here. It's gonna take jobs and it's going to create situations that people are gonna have to deal with, whether they like it or not. I gotta sneeze. Bless me. Sorry. um And it has to be something that has to be put into the category where we're going to be able to look at it and say, like, okay, this is what this is. Maybe a label. Right now, I've seen already a film that said this film was not, did not use any AI in it or something like that. No AI was used in the making of this film. That's what it said. And it was at the end of the film. And I thought, no, it was at the beginning of the film. I was like, wow. So people are actually prompting these and having to actually put that on the screen to let people know this is not AI. This was originally made. Maybe that's where it's going to come. Let's not give legitimacy to AI and prompters, right? There's a certain level of legitimacy that they can have because maybe they've prompted something that's entertaining, whatever. But I want to make sure that artists get the respect. Listen, it's tough enough being an artist just before AI came, before computers. It was tough. And then computers came along and made things a little easier. We had emails and we can actually get people's emails. We can do email lists. We can email flyers. Then we had websites. Now we have our own website. Then we have our own now video content. Now we can do streaming. We can stream our concerts. We can stream our music. All these things made the artists give them more tools for them to use, but it didn't mean that the artist should not go out and play. Didn't mean that they shouldn't go out and continue to write songs and play and try to find clubs to play and play to empty clubs one night and then play to 100 people one day and then keep going that route. That doesn't mean that the artists, we still had to do that. We still did that. And so that's what I'm trying to clarify, that I want artists to continue to be revered and to be respected and to be up there with as the ones that move society. The artists can inspire a generation, a culture, and I think it's important for us to protect them and protect the integrity of the artist. And the AI prompters are here; they're available. People can actually utilize and see their art. I've seen so many little videos, and right now they're just kind of, a lot of them are just prompting little cute videos of famous people fighting and saying funny things, and it's very entertaining. There's no real value in it as far as like nobody's gonna pay to see Mr. Rogers wrestle Jimi Hendrix. It's like I don't even know where that, I saw something like that, and I don't even know where that would fit into society to make. It's just something you look at and you go, that's okay, and then you move on. There's really not that much value to it, that when you're listening to a song that somebody made, or when you're watching someone perform live and you're like, whoa, they are good, this is amazing, because they put the hours in, they put their 10,000 hours in, and they've crafted something beautiful, right? All right, friends, well, there you have it. There's the conversation for the day. I want to make sure that making sure that not only artists are respected to where they should be, but at the same time that they have the idea that they don't have to compete, because there is no competition here. We're not competing with prompters, right? You can't compete with a machine, right? They would love for you to think that, but that's not the case. So I want you to get out there. I want you to be confident in the art that you're producing. I want you to be excited for the opportunity to create. Keep studying, keep practicing, keep creating, keep sharing your art with others, and make it a special part of your life and part of the lives of those around you. All right, friends. Thank you so much for spending this morning with me. As always, I appreciate you being here. I love you all. I will see you all tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Central. God bless you all. And as always, peace.